Today we are taking Unit 5, Silence Please. Now at which all places you might have seen this signboard? Think. Yes, you are right. You see it in the hospitals. You see it in the clinics. And you also see it in the library. Now the pre-task of this lesson, it's pretty interesting. The three pre-tasks of this lesson, they are interesting. The first one mentions about various sounds created by nature. Wind blowing through the trees. Then you hear the birds singing. You hear the thunder. You hear the sounds of raindrops on the galvanized roof. And if you are by the sea, the sound of the waves. These are the sounds created by nature, which are pleasant to hear. The second is the sound created by machines. Just imagine, you are on the ground floor and upstairs above you, the people moving the furniture or running a sewing machine or children running about and sometimes even the fan. The sound or the noise, I won't call it so much of a sound, it is the noise. These all noise are made by man. So the second sound caused by machines is the sound made by man. And the third one is a lovely poem on sounds. We'll be doing that. The second one is also related to pollution. Second one, the sound, the noise created by machines or the noise created by man also is responsible for pollution. What does the word pollution mean? It means to make it dirty, to spoil. Caused especially by smoke. Even inhaling can be dangerous. You might have seen few advertisements where they have shown people smoking. So while they are smoking directly, you standing there and inhaling the smoke that they release is also dangerous. Third is enjoyable poetry, mentioning various sounds throughout the day. Now, it can be the sounds like in the kitchen. You have the water pipes, you have the knives and forks, or even spoons. Sometimes you also hear the rumbling of the refrigerator, as though its belly is too full and it cannot take it anymore. See here the picture telling you being silent. You might have watched tennis games, Wimbledon tennis, or any grand picks. Then you find the referee says, silence please, and there are so many people sitting, yet they are so obedient to the request. So this picture tells you, keep quiet. The second picture, you can see the horn. So wherever you have hospitals, where you have schools, at those places you find such signboards, meaning you are not supposed to raise You're not supposed to blow your horn because it might cause trouble to the patients and even the students studying. Now let us see this explanation. This lesson is related to present times. Most of the lessons in English or in any subject are taken keeping in view to see how it can help the growing generation. So this lesson is related to the present times, meaning your time and even mine because I'm still with there. And to some extent with the generation gap. This generation gap I'll explain while we are going a little further. You may have experienced the similar situation. Now what is the situation? Similar situation. Mr. and Mrs. Dalal tell Jagat and Ved to reduce the volume of the CD players. But the children do not pay any heed. Pay any heed meaning they do not listen. They consider it as an unpleasant sound. Who is they? Mr. and Mrs. Dalal. They think the sound is very unpleasant because the music is just hammering in their head, while the boys think it to be music. Now you might have attended some of the musical concerts, and if your chair or if your seat is near those speakers, now the speakers are placed so that all the public on the open space can hear, and unfortunately, if your chair or your seat is next to the speaker, you can understand the situation. Your eardrums are going to burst. After a while, Mrs. Dalal turned on the electric blender. She did tell the boys to lower the volume of the CD, but they paid no heed. So she thought it is time for her to go to kitchen and take up the kitchen chore, that is the kitchen work. So she takes up the electric blender, that is a mixie, and her husband, he switched on the TV for news. Now, as the people age, their hearing becomes little less, and so the volume of the television is pretty high. So he switched on the TV to listen to the news. So first one, we have the CD player making noise. Second, we have the electric blender creating noise. Third, we have the TV which is on and the news. Now the fourth one. The neighbor's son, Kishan, started his bike. So the fourth one is starting the bike and racing it. Sometimes it doesn't start, so you keep on racing it. He raced it at about the same time. There's a motor car that passes by. Now that car, that is the fifth one. The motor car passing by, blowing the horn. You might have, experienced this in school. While your classes are going on, and you have a road by the side of your school, many times you have a traffic jam, and all of them blowing their horn mad, crazy. And you can't hear what is being done or what is being instructed in the classroom. So blowing the horn. What do you think about the result of all these loud sounds? Now you might have seen blow horn behind the heavy vehicles. Why they have written that? So that while overtaking or while you are still behind, you want to tell them, don't give a sudden brake because I'm behind, or you are blowing because you want to overtake that huge vehicle. So they tell you, please horn. Of course, you can use the light blinkers. What do you think was the result of all these loud sound? Correct. You're right. Yes, Jagat and Ved increased volume of their CD player even higher. Why? So the other sounds would be drowned. Other sounds would be softer in front of the CD player's sound. Isn't this a usual scene in many of our homes? I think you also must be doing the same thing. Switching on the television when the dance programs are going on, or when there's a music program going on, and then you are dancing to that music and singing along with them, so you become a TV artist or a radio artist. So see, this is a very common, usual scene, is a common scene in most of our homes. But what is the difference between noise and sound? This you need to understand. What is the difference between noise and sound? It is always annoying and harmful. What is annoying and harmful? Noise. It here stands for noise. Such noises are described as unwanted sounds by experts. So many times when you cover your ears to block the sound, that means you don't like that sound. So unwanted sound, some experts say that. That is for noise. But here you may make a point that what is noise to few may be pleasant sound to some. Again we go back to the example where it is noise for Mr. and Mrs. Dalal. It is actually music for the children. That is for Jagat and Ved. So this is what you can argue or you can debate, that what might be noise to somebody may be music to the other party. Here you make a point that what is noise to few may be pleasant sound to some, like the CD player to the boys and to Mrs. and Mr. Dalal. Now where do you see this type of a picture and what does it say? Now many of you will be very soon getting your license. So when you get your license, there are some symbols that you have to learn and you have to pass a test. So this is one of the traffic signals which is put up outside the hospitals. So on the roadside, where the hospitals are there, this type of a picture you find, blow no horn. It doesn't say blow horn, it says blowing horn is forbidden. It is prohibited. Now see, as I was telling you that if your seat is next to the speakers, then your eardrums are going to burst. So I think both these pictures are telling you loud enough that what is sound or what you would call noise. Unpleasant. At what point sound becomes noise? Now this lesson is very informative. So you might wanting to know, you might be interested or you might be curious to know at what point sound becomes noise. Now scientifically, sound is measured in decibels. Just like you weigh, supposing you buy vegetables, then you are measuring it in kilos. And if you are buying a cloth, you measure it in length, that is meters. And when you buy liquid, it is in liter. And the same way, sound is measured by decibels. 0 decibel is like mute. In the television, you have a mute button. So many times when the advertisements are running, you put it on mute, meaning it is very, very almost 0 sound. Generally, people speak between 45 to 75 decibels. So see what should be the range of your speech. 45 to 75 decibels. Sound above this, that is 75, damages human ears. It starts damaging and may cause deafness. That is why you find that people who are working in the factories work, or if you have a home by the airport or by the railway tracks, every time the train passes, you get the vibration and you hear the whistle of the train passing. You also hear the aeroplane. So all these sounds are too noisy and it can drive you really crazy, though you might become habituated. Such situation arises when sound is above 100 decibels. So, ranges between 45 to 75, which is the speech of the people, and if it is more than 100 decibel, it is going to cause deafness. Now let us see a little more. The human body never gets used to noise. Just imagine when you are sleeping, if there is too much of noise outside, you go out and tell them, please allow me to rest, make less noise. Sometimes you don't even tell them. It is like the first picture in which only a finger on your lip tells you, be silent. You might have seen or you might have experienced when you were in KG or first standard, your teacher, she put a finger on her lip and all of you did the same, putting a finger on the lip. That means no talking. The human body never gets used to noise. It causes illness like high blood pressure, annoyance, that is irritation, anxiety, that is worries, and even heart disease. So see all the types of diseases that you may get because of noise. It is not overnight. It is not just with a slip of finger. This is a slow process. Today, no one can escape the terror of noise. Who can escape? We are living in the world of machines, and therefore it is impossible to run away from any type of noise. Like the air, water and land pollution, there is noise pollution. You have studied this in the 9th standard. How air is polluted, how water is polluted, how land is polluted, and what is also the noise pollution. According to WHO, that is World Health Organization, this pollution is easiest to control. See what step can be taken to control noise pollution. Here are a few suggestions. Number 1, speak loud, not loudly. Avoid shouting. So those of you who are speaking to a friend who is sitting next to you, you don't have to increase the volume of your voice. You have to be soft. You almost talk in whispers. But still you find, people talking on the cell phone. They want to show to the world that they have a phone, a cell phone, mobile. And the second thing, they want to boast about their business. And so they scream and talk. The other fellow must be keeping the phone far from the ear because it does hurt. Second. So number 1 is speak loud, not loudly, and avoid shouting. Number 2, don't slam doors and books. When you are leaving the room, don't slam the door. And even when you are annoyed, don't throw your books. So don't slam the doors, windows, or even books. Third one, avoid walking noisily. Some people really drag themselves and make too much of noise, and they disturb everyone. And sometimes you have those pencil heels. You can't do anything but hear the sound of tick, tick, tick. Fourth one. Keep the volume of CD, the tape recorder and stereos low. Don't raise it so that the entire neighborhood can understand what songs you are listening to or enjoying. In my neighborhood, I have this. I don't have to switch on the volume. It is only the picture I watch, and the rest of it comes from the, I don't have to tell you. You understood, right? Use only one mechanical device at a time. Now you have this extension cord in which there are sockets for a couple of pins that you can put in. So you have switched on a television, you have switched on the blender, you have switched on the CD player, and it might be also the vacuum machine. Or maybe your sister drying her hair, the dryer. Can you understand the noise created by all of them? You'll go crazy. Let me tell you. So number 5 is very important. Whatever mechanical devices that you have, be it a hair dryer, a blender, a CD player or anything. You also have the machine like Natraj for the chakki that you call. Yeah, making the wheat into flour. That also makes noise. Sixth one. Don't blow horns unnecessarily. Here, it is written blow horn behind many vehicles. And people think that others cannot understand that you have a vehicle. So you want to draw their attention. And therefore you blow the horn. It is wrong. Even at the crossroads. As soon as the traffic moves, others will move. So you don't have to keep on honking. But yet people will do. So next time you see them, you tell them, traffic moves, I'll move and you will move. Seventh one, observe the silent zones. So where do you have the silent zone? I showed you that picture where you have the horn and then the red cross mark there. Meaning silent zones are near schools and near hospitals. You have to be extra careful not to blow horns there. And eighth one, make minimum use of microphones and loudspeakers. Now you have these cell phones which are many a times coming with so many advices. One of them is, while listening or to the talk, keep the phone on your left ear rather than the right. And loudspeakers, Navratris, and any festival. Ahmedabad is famous for festivals. Every month you have almost a festival. And when you have marriages, the band bajas, and the dancing on the roadside, and the music blasting away, you are enjoying, but what about the others? So if you have to enjoy, see that you do not cause inconvenience to others. So these 8 rules: speak softly, don't slam, avoid walking noisily, keep the volumes of your music system low, too many mechanical devices should not be used at the same time, try not to blow horn unnecessarily, observe the silent zone, that means do not blow horn near schools or hospitals, and last one, make minimum use of microphones and loudspeakers. So these are few steps whereby you can control the noise pollution. Now, who would be called a sensible citizen? Naturally, those who are following these 8 rules. These are 8 golden rules. A sensible citizen, if we follow, so as sensible citizens, that is you and me, if we follow the above suggestions, we can reduce the noise pollution to great extent. So let us be sensible, and we can also stop the others. It is not just the government has to do it. It is not just the traffic police who has to do it. It is we. It is you and it is me. Together we have to work to reduce this pollution, or how we can, minimize. How we can minimize. Now let us see which are the vocabularies, exercises on the vocabulary. I hope you have understood the lesson, and when you read it, such lessons you must read it loud. Now why I am telling you to read loud? So that your mother, your father, your brothers, sisters can also learn few things about the noise. And beside that, one thing is very important. They will understand that you're not sleeping, but you are studying. Choose the most appropriate meaning. First one, the human body never gets used to noise. Gets used to, that is the word you have to find the nearest meaning. What is it? Get habituated. Meaning become accustomed to. So the first option. Second one. These days, no one can escape the terror of noise. You have to get the nearest meaning of the word escape. So we have the words be prevented from, second one face, and the third one get away from. So the meaning would be get away from. Nobody can get away from the terror of noise. Third one. Mr. and Mrs. Dalal rushed to their room. So which are the options given here? Hurried, entered and left. The first option, rushed. The meaning is hurried. Fourth one. Noise pollutes our environment. What is the meaning of pollute? This I told you right at the beginning, to make it dirty. And here you have make it clean, makes it dry and makes it dirty. So it is the last option. Pollute means to make it dirty. Fifth one. Kishan started his bike and raised it several times to warm it up. This generally happens in winters, isn't it? Your two-wheeler goes to sleep and then you have to raise it before you start running on the road. So he raised it several times. Which is the nearest meaning? Lifted, rose or increased? Yes, the C one, he increased. Yeah? Increase what? When you take the accelerator in your hand and raise it. So he increased the speed, with the brake of course. The B part of the vocabulary is, use the prefix to the given an antonym. Example. So if you add this prefix, pre means before, you will get antonyms meaning the opposite. Here example is given, un, that is, so un plus pleasant, you get a new word, unpleasant, meaning which is not pleasant. Similarly, un plus wanted, you get unwanted. Now let us have the solution of the words which are given in your text. Fair, unfair. Common, uncommon. Healthy, unhealthy. Familiar, unfamiliar. Faithful, unfaithful. And fit, unfit. You may find many more words and see if you can use this prefix and get an opposite. The C part of the vocabulary. Some of the proper prefixes, other prefixes that make antonyms are. So one, they have given UN. Now let us see a few more. First one, just IN. When you use IN in front of visible, then it becomes invisible, inefficient, indisciplined. So when you want to say the child is not disciplined, you say he is known for his indiscipline. And he is inefficient in his work. The road is invisible on a rainy day. So see how you can utilize these words in sentences. DIS. When you add this, disappear, meaning you cannot see it. Disable, who is not able, incapable, that is. Discourage. Many a times, friends say that it is not your cup of tea. You cannot do it. That is discourage. But we must find that these antonyms, most of them are negatives. And therefore you will find in your report cards, these words are not allowed. Supposing they want that you should become efficient, they'll say, he needs to be more efficient. They will not say he is inefficient. Okay, so see how these words can, slap you on the face. IR, meaning irresponsible, irregular, irrelevant. So if a person is not carrying out his responsibility, you say he is irresponsible. Now, a student doesn't come every day to school, then you say he is irregular. And if somebody says something which is not fitting that situation, then you say it is irrelevant. IL. Illegal. What is not lawful. Ill feeling. When you don't have nice feeling for somebody else. Ill manners. Meaning who is not polite. Who is not courteous. IM. You can get the words impure, immovable, immoral. So you say impure water, then certain furniture in the house is immovable, and if a person does something sinful, you say immoral. The last one on this page is misuse. So you will find it in one of the lessons that sometimes liberty is given to you, freedom is given to you, but you have to be responsible. You can't misuse that freedom. Misbehave. Teasing somebody on the roadside is misbehave. Misplace. You keep your book somewhere and are not able to find it, or some documents. So misplace. I'll run through them once again fast so that you understand them and you get the correct pronunciation. Invisible, inefficient, indisciplined. Disappear, disable, discourage. IR, irresponsible, irregular, irrelevant. IL, illegal, ill-feeling, ill manners. IM, impure, immovable, immortal, you might say impossible. Misuse, misbehave, misplace. Now let us go to the comprehension. We are going to refer to page 41. Good sounds made Mr. and Mrs. Dalal angry. Question 1. Which sound made Mr. and Mrs. Dalal angry? Answer. The loud and high volume of the CD player made Mr. and Mrs. Dalal angry. Second question. What did they see when they rushed to the room? Answer. When they rushed to the room, they saw Jagat and Ved were dancing crazily, crazily meaning madly, to the music of their new CD. Third question. What is the difference between sound and noise? Answer. When cry of the birds wind through the leaves create sounds, it is pleasant. Then it is called pleasant sound. It is called sound. But when the sound is unpleasant, it is annoying, it is unbearable, then it is called noise. When you cover your ears because of the sound, then it is noise. But if you open your ears and listen to the songs of the birds, it is music. Fourth question. Which other factors cause environmental pollution besides noise? Answer. Besides noise, air is polluted by various gases. That is why you have to get your vehicles checked from time to time. Dust particles, these pollute the air. Many times when you are traveling by the train, for example, and the engine is a steam engine, just run your finger through your hair and try to dig your nose and just see your nails. They'll all be black. That is the dust particles which are in the air. Second is water is polluted by washing clothes, releasing dirty industrial water in them. And that is why the project has been taken up to clean up the rivers. Land is polluted by chemical fertilizers and also by dumping industrial waste. Last and most important is the thought pollution. When you don't think in the right direction, and such thought pollution can make a bad person out of anyone. Sixth question. Which diseases may be caused by noise pollution? Answer is disease like deafness, high blood pressure, annoyance, anxiety, and even heart disease. Heavy head. Sometimes you say બહુ ભારી લાગે છે, માથું બહુ ભારી લાગે છે. Or head drumming. You say માથું ફાટી જાય છે. So there's so much of noise in your head. So head drumming is that માથું ફાટી જાય છે. Seventh question. List down the various sources of sounds. The lesson begins with the noise of CD player, then electric blender, then TV news, followed by racing the bike before riding, and finally the blowing of a horn by a passing motor car. You can really picturize this in your mind, and then you'll find that the answers come to you so easily. Whatever you read, trying to picturize. And if you picturize, the memory takes in the information and you are able to produce it at the time of exams. The B part of comprehension. Which words in the lesson mean the following? Belly means tummy. Belly is the belly of the refrigerator. Mixer, they have given the word tender, a blender. You use the mixie for grinding things, and you also have the hand blender So the second word for mixie is the blender. Gastric, the word used in the book is indigestion. Intolerance, the book word is, or the lesson word is unbearable. Worry, in the lesson the word they have used is anxiety. And compact dish is CD. Let us go to the grammar. Fill in the blanks with suitable forms of verbs given in the brackets, page 42. Here, straight away, the solution has been done for you. So keep your book open to page 42 to see the original sentence in the book. If you boil water, it slowly evaporates. Evaporates means bhap thai jao. Second, unless he comes, I will not leave this place. Unless he comes. Third one, if you speak politely, people will listen to you. And they won't listen if you are shouting, mind you. So speak softly, so people will listen to you. Fourth one, unless you invite her to the party, she won't come. Yeah, she has self-dignity. So you have to invite in order that she comes to the party. Fifth one, if we had got the earlier train, we would have reached in time. If we had got. Number 6. Unless the captain takes the decision, we will not win. Seventh one. If you travel by train, it will be cheaper. So, in A part, they have given you the verbs in brackets and you have to use it appropriately according to the sentence. So, the words are underlined for you and the answer you can see it there. The B part of the grammar in use is use if or unless. It is again the same page, page 42. Please refer to your books so that you get the sentences. Number 1. Unless proper documents are provided, you won't get a loan. This can also be written a little differently. Unless can be replaced by if. So, if you do not provide proper documents, so see with the word if you are using the word do not. If you do not provide proper documents, you won't get a loan. In the first one, unless is by itself a negative. And if is not a negative, and that is why you are using do not. Second sentence, unless you apply a brake, you will meet with a serious accident. So, if you don't apply brake, it is understood. If you do not apply the brake, you will meet with a serious accident. So, you can see that with if you are using negative and with unless you are not using the first part because it is already a negative. Third one, if you don't water the plants, they will die. So, in this case, they have given you if you don't. So, now using the unless. Unless you water the plants, they will die. Unless you water the plants, they will die. Fourth one. If you don't ask for help, you will not get it. It's so true, isn't it? When you are hungry, you must ask your mother for food. Otherwise, how will she know that you are hungry? Unless it is the meal time. Unless you ask for help, you will not get it. So, the last one on this is, unless you remember the telephone number, you won't be able to contact her. And If you don't remember the telephone number, you won't be able to contact her. Sixth one, unless you reach the hospital in time, you won't be admitted. So you will not be admitted. And if you do not reach the hospital in time, you won't be admitted. So won't, in bracket it is also written will not. So 6 pair of sentences where unless and if have been used, and I'm sure by this time you have understood how to make sentences by yourself using unless and if. Unless by itself is a negative and therefore you're not using not, but in case of if, you have to use the word not. That is the negative part. It is the C part of the vocabulary. Fill in the blanks with appropriate prepositions, that is solution. We have it here. Appropriate prepositions. Now this is actually an exercise where you are supposed to supply appropriate prepositions, and it has been done for you already, the solution. Mr. Gandhi was always a model prisoner because he believed in sticking to his own rules. But he was a very clever chap. Chap is fellow. And very good at producing some reasons why the rules could be bent. So see, according to your choice, you bend the rules. You never had much trouble except that if there was something that he could not agree to and he could not get his way, a hunger strike was threatened. So see how he blackmails people in putting forth his ideas. You never had much trouble except, so see, he is telling you that if you want people to bend to your demands, except that if there was something that he could not agree to and he couldn't get away his way, a hunger strike was threatened. And nobody wanted that. It happened for the first time, and it also happened he was not given permission to see anybody from outside. So see, the government takes certain laws. So this is the solution. Keep your book so that you get the answers correctly. The D part of the comprehension. It's a grammar in use. News reporters report to the editor of a local daily. New commissioners neat and cleanliness drive. This is the heading. Now before I read it out for you, let me tell you few tips or the clues which you must keep it in mind while writing a report. Number 1, the title. So what is the title here? New commissioners neat and cleanliness drive. So, and the second thing that you have to remember is the name of the reporter. If you see the newspaper, the heading is given. Below that, it is the name of the journalist or the reporter, and sometimes even the magazine or the paper. It might be given by TOI, meaning Times of India. So first thing you remember is heading. It has to be very attractive. Second, the name of the reporter. Third thing that you must remember is the name of the place. Where are you reporting from? So this report is from Surat. And the next thing you've got to remember the date. Now, in the newspaper, you'll find the date is already given right at the top. So they don't keep on writing the date, but they do write the place. So open up a newspaper and see for yourself. You'll find the heading, then you'll find the name of the reporter, and the third thing you'll find the name of the place. Having got these three things in mind, the fourth thing that you've got to remember is report is written generally in past tense. And it is also written in passive. But if there is a quotation, if somebody has spoken and you are directly using the words of that person, then it can be present tense. And it can be future tense, especially if there's an accident or if there has been a theft. Then in that case you will say the police will be taking some action, that is future. Otherwise you'll find most of the time report is written in past tense. So let me run through the clues once again before I read this report for you. Number 1, the heading, which has to be very attractive. Number 2, the name of the reporter. Number 3, name of the place and the date. Now we are coming to the report. The new Municipal Commissioner of Surat, Miss Nalini Gupta, it is not Mrs., it is Miss Nalini Gupta, said, since last 3 years, she has been in Gujarat. See, the present tense has been because she has not left, she is still here. And that is why you have that present tense. Her first posting was at Kutch. See past tense again. Her first posting was at Kutch. The second one, Ben Mehsana. Before being transferred to Surat on 5th of that month, Miss Gupta spoke Gujarati fluently. When asked, how could she do so? Miss Gupta learned to speak Gujarati by. She said that she learned to speak Gujarati by watching Gujarati serials on the TV, listening to Gujarati news, reading Gujarati newspaper and magazines. So see how one can learn a new language. Ratna praised her, that is Miss Gupta's effort, and learnt that Miss Gupta felt very fine in Gujarat except at the beginning. Everywhere please read it as Miss. Skip out the R from there. Fine in Gujarati except at the beginning. So, she felt fine in Gujarat except in the beginning. So, she did not know the language, so she was not able to communicate. Ms. Gupta emphasized that she needed cooperation of the people of Surat in maintaining cleanliness and neatness. It has to be a collective team work. So, as I told you, that sound pollution or the noise pollution is not just the duty of the government. It is your and my duty. It is a collective duty. Similarly, she also believes in collective duty. It is collective effort. Cleanliness, if you don't throw things on the road, it will not be dirty. If you see something and pick it up, then also you're making it clean. I hope you remember that incident in Munnabai. That gentleman who was spitting, all the time in the corner, pan ki pichkari. You find most of the buildings where you have the staircase people are using, you find that entire corner painted or colored with the color of the pan. So many people are now putting what? Picture of God. But they don't feel ashamed of that also. But I find that in one place like BSNL, their office, they have put glass. So you see your reflection. Are you going to spit on yourself? No way. So that is a good way of keeping people aware about their responsibilities. Ratna thanked Ms. Gupta and left. So this was the last of the exercise. I hope you had a nice session and enjoyed it. Thank you.